Hi, so this is Ms. Guthrie again, and in my class, your class may do things slightly different if this is a different class, but this is how I am doing the actual project part of Lesson 4 in Unit 2. So, we started off doing bubbles 1 and 2. I did that on a different video. And that's really important because you learned new tags. You learned how to do breaks, line breaks. You learned how to do ordered lists and unordered lists. You may have learned how to do a horizontal rule, like a line, and that was in lesson 3. You've learned a lot of things in addition to your P tags and all 6 of your heading tags that you've learned. You've learned a lot already. And so in just a couple of lessons, it's time now to try to put some of that together and for you guys to get to create your own first real project. So it's going to be a personal web page on the topic of your choice. I want you to think of things that are interesting to you that you already know about. There is no research required for this project. It is a personal web page. It can be just like some of the ones we've been looking at. It can be about your pets. It can be about your family. It can be about your hobbies. It can be about your favorite video games. Anything you would like for it to be about. I do want to go over a couple things. I want to go over really briefly the grading rubric. Probably I'm not going to go over the Padlet on here because we'll do that in class. If you are at home and you're working and you're quarantined, you're working on this, it's pretty straightforward. If you're in 7th grade, click the 7th grade. If you're in 8th grade, click the 8th grade, and you will go right there. You'll be able to post onto the Padlet. So once you get on the Padlet, you are going to preview at least 3 of your peers' personal web pages as they create them. If you happen to be the first one on there, obviously there won't be any others, but as the class starts putting them on there, we'll see more. You're going to click View Code at the bottom of their web page to be able to look over the coding that they've done and so forth. That is the peer feedback part that we're going to be doing, and I'll get into that. You'll have an opportunity to take the feedback that you get on your web page, which is so important, and hopefully use the feedback to make improvements before you actually submit it. When you go to submit this in Canvas, you are going to share the URL, and I'll show you where to get that. But first, this is the rubric. So I'm only going to go over what I'm looking for over here in the extensive evidence. If you don't do some of the things, it's going to fall under the convincing, limited, or no evidence. So first off, we want to use HTML with paragraph and heading tags. That's what we've been focusing on. I should see P tags and heading tags. You should have minimal syntax errors. The page should render correctly in the web page. And most importantly, all of the text in the page is contained inside paragraph elements or heading elements. That is important. If you leave some of the text outside of elements, you're going to be marked down for that. All right. Each of these, by the way, is going to give you 6 points of your, and this is a 24-point assignment here. I changed and just updated that. Okay. The website uses HTML tags to format the page in a logical way with appropriately sized text that is consistent throughout. So, I want you to think of something that you can write about that's going to have a title, that's going to have subheadings underneath that title that can all be logically and consistently organized in the same, using the same headings. Okay? Underneath those subheadings, you should have a little brief, maybe a description or something about it. It doesn't have to be a ton of text on the page, but it should be enough to show me that you know how to use the heading tags and paragraph tags. So the code is consistently well formatted. The nested tags are aligned vertically to make them easier to read. So all of your P tags start on a new line. If you use, and they're not all over the place. So for feedback, for this portion, you're actually part of your grade is going to come from sharing your web page on Padlet and offering feedback to others. So hopefully responding to that feedback also and making changes. So that's an important part of computer science, is working with others and seeking others' feedback. Your feedback that you offer should be meaningful, should not be simply good job, because that doesn't tell anybody what they did well. If you are thinking, you look at their webpage, you're like, wow, this is pretty cool, I like it. Instead of just writing, I like it, you did a good job, be specific. What did you like about it? I like how your heading is, how you did the title and how you did your subheadings in different sizes, in the consistent sizes. Or I like the content of your page. I find it interesting. Whatever it is, as long as your comment, if you say you like something, it's meaningful. If you say you don't care for something, please be kind. Just because you don't like the content of it doesn't really matter. We're not all going to like the same things. Focus more on the coding aspect and how that they've done it rather than on the content. But if they didn't do well, if they messed up on something, you can say, hey, I noticed that in the second paragraph you left off your P tags. Don't, go back and put in your P tags around all of your text, and make sure all of your text is in elements. So be specific with your feedback. You have the opportunity, and I encourage you, especially if you're someone who's already gotten started and you have time, to use a bulleted or numbered list in your on your web page. You can also use other things such as breaks and horizontal rules and those kind of things if you've learned that. So feel free to use those as well. That is how you're going to be graded. You have the ability to earn 26 out of 24 points, which is the equivalent of earning a 108 on this assignment, approximately. So this is all you start with. You start literally with a beautiful blank canvas on code.org. You're going to add HTML to your page between the body section here. So I would maybe put, maybe I want to talk about cars or vehicles that I have owned. Okay, I choose this topic because I don't think very many middle schoolers have owned vehicles just yet. So I want your personal website to be something that's personal to you. I have had cars. I have had boats. And let me think of one more. I've had, let me just put other. Okay. These are my subheadings. Underneath cars, I might decide to do a bulleted list of some of the cars I have owned. Okay. And if you remember how to do a bulleted list, by the way, if you've forgotten how to do something, if you go to helps and tips, you can see how to do lists, headings and paragraphs and so forth. I think that documentation also pulls up something. Probably shouldn't have clicked on that. I'll come back to that after the page loads. But anyway, so I had a Dodge Shadow. I think, what year was that thing? 1990. That was my first car. If you don't know what a Dodge Shadow is, you can look it up. It's a pretty ugly car now, like looking at it now, but at the time I was very proud of it. All right. I had a 1991 Chevy Camaro. That was an awesome car. And the 1993 Chevy pickup. I'm not going to list all my cars because you guys have more things in life to do than to watch me do that. But my latest car is a 2019 Honda CR-V. Now, notice it's putting everything all in group over here because I haven't actually started coding anything. I'm just getting my content in. I had a Seafox deck boat. And I had a John boat. Which is a small fishing boat. Other things I've had are bicycles and a huge bus. That is converted to an RV, which is kind of cool. All right, so I'm going to stop there. As time allows, I could come in here and add some paragraphs. It would be actually really good for you to come in and maybe add in, I don't know if I can, let's see. I'd have to play around with that. So vehicles I have owned is going to be my title. Put it probably in a nice big heading. Boom. Popped up. Since the cars are, I technically put them in order. I could use an ordered list here, or I may not care about the order and I may just use an unordered list. So first off for cars, I'm going to use a smaller heading. And then I'm going to come in here and put, I think I'll use an unordered list. Notice I'm starting each tag on its own line. List should be tabbed over. Okay. And for the sake of time, I'm going to delete a little bit of that so I don't have to do as much in the video. And then close out the ordered list. This actually will earn you extra credit points right there, what I just did. Okay. I do want to see a paragraph tag in here, so it could be something like, I love fast cars. Something really simple for right now. Now, logical and consistent. I want you to think about it. If I did cars as one level of text, boats is my next example of a type of vehicle. We want it to be consistent, H3, H3, or you could use a different heading size, but you want to stay consistent. I don't want to do H3 here and then come down here and do H1. This is not what I'm looking for. You would be inconsistent in your use of headings. All right, I'm going to stop here because I think you guys get the idea, and I want this to be about your topic of interest. You're not in it to entertain me, although I am very interested in reading what you guys are interested in. This is going to be shared with your classmates. So if it's something that's too personal to you, if you want to share all the people you have crushes on, you may not want to put that on a web page that you're going to share with everybody if it's not something you want everybody to know. So there's that. It is the internet. It is a web page. Once you finish your web page, and obviously this one is not done, but once it is all finished, we're going to pretend that I finished it. I'm going to say finished. It's probably going to say, are you sure? I'm surprised it did not. Okay. It's going to take you to the next step. This is where you can actually publish your web page. You have to go to bubble 4 to be able to get this share code. So this is the code that you will put into Canvas when you're all done. This is also the code that you will put onto Padlet when you're all done. So it brings over what you just did. It's asking you to kind of basically double check everything, make sure everything's organized, readable, free of bugs, that you've got all the structure and content in there. I'm going to click share, and notice this link. This link right here is your web page. Now it is ugly and messy because it's got a lot of extra letters and numbers and all that stuff over there, but this is your web page. What did I just do? I accidentally clicked something. So I think I clicked back somehow. Let's go back to bubble 4 and try that again. All right, again, I'm going to click on the share button. It's all trying to pull up all my stuff. Share. Copy the link. It's going to automatically highlight it. Copy it depending on, I use Control-C or Command-C if you're on Mac. Now if I go up here and I open up another tab, because what's one more tab if you already got 40, right? All right, oops, that did not copy. All right, share, copy. When you go to the web, this web page is on the web. This is your web page that you have created, and anybody can come to it and look at it. It's not very fancy yet because we haven't learned how to put in pictures. We haven't learned how to do backgrounds and all that stuff just yet. But wait, it's coming. What I do want you to notice is right down here. Let's see if it will let me type there right. Oh, it's not letting me do it very well because of this. Move that up out of the way. All right, right down here. Still not letting me circle it where I want to. But right down there, it says view code, okay? That view code is how you go and you look at what the code is behind this website. Not all websites have that. This is unique for code.org websites that have been created in code.org. But when I click on it, it'll pull up the actual code. So when we say to look at your peers' code, that's what I want you to do. I want you to click the view code and that way you can see how they did it. And it'll pull it up without all that extra stuff because you're just looking at the viewing. There you go. You'll be able to look and see what did they do. If you were looking at this, if this was the code you were looking at, you'd probably want to say, hey, you need to finish coding the boats and the other vehicles so that they match cars and the consistency of that. But perhaps I'm going to tell that person that they've done a really good job with their bulleted list, their unordered list. And, I can see that they've used a paragraph tag and they've got multiple heading tags, more than one. I see H1 and H3. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want you guys to do on this assignment in code.org. I want you to have fun with it. It will be a 3-day assignment. At least that's my plan. It may take us a 4th day, but we'll see how everybody's doing on Thursday, if we're ready to move on Friday. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. Let me know if you have any questions, especially if you're quarantined or you don't have a teacher right in front of you. Okay? Have a wonderful day.